Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are now looking at visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi arriving at Parliament for the cabinet meeting, expected to begin any time now. In fact, in this cabinet meeting, Nirmala Sitharaman, Finance Minister, will apprise her cabinet colleagues of what exactly are the headline takeaways, and I'd love to be a fly on the wall. I've always wanted to be, never quite made it inside as a fly on the wall. Yeah, I would have got swatted. Yes, you're right, Jaggi. This is Home Minister Amit Shah arriving at Parliament right ahead of the cabinet meeting. Anticipation high, not reading much from the smiles because the smiles never give anything away. It is an election year. For any party to stay in power, winning elections is the most important thing. But can it really happen at the cost of the economy? Can Finance Minister afford to be populist when prudence is the need of the hour is a question that we all need to ask tonight. You know, I can almost tell you what the opposition is going to say when they come out after the budget presentation, because that statement hasn't changed ever. They will say it's a lackluster budget, does nothing for the poor, increases income inequalities, no big ticket idea to increase India's growth rate, and blah, blah, blah. Am I wrong when I say this? But before I take a rain check on that, question tonight is also, freebies have only grown chiller in recent times. They've managed to do it in various states. It is competitive freebie promises that have gone on in every elections. And now we have 4 crucial states that are going for elections, 1 union territory. Our SOP's going to be the order of the hour. Something that should worry us all, because we're looking at correction, reforms, and looking at the economy on breaking away from the shackles and moving forward. What is the one thing I want to ask my panel? What is the one thing, Monica, that you think we will need to look at? Freebies, total no-no, but do you think Nirmala Sitharaman will be able to avoid the pressure?
I think the story has shifted to the states. You know, it's like, you know, parents have done a good job, they've skimped and saved. But of all the kids, there are some who are just splurging without a thought for what the state deficits look like. Even in terms of implementation of a lot of things, I think the ball is firmly in the state's court right now. So she will continue as a good lady at the head of the financial ecosystem to do very conservative deficit numbers. That 4.4 is going to be achieved. So I think we are looking at this consolidation of the finance to continue. We are going to continue to see the capital investments happen, but there is a capacity limit to what the center can do. The implementation has to be in the states. So I think the story firmly should be with the states right now.
Anand Ranganathan.
I have a different view. I think it's not just the states that are to be blamed. It is the center that is encouraging this freebism. If you look at the on the eve of Bihar elections, that 10,000 one-off thing, it was dictated by none other than Narendra Modi. If you look at Maharashtra elections, all those schemes, you can call it freebism, you can call it whatever by any other name. But the fact of the matter is, the freebism culture is directly from top down. It is not from bottom up. So yes, the states have to tighten the belt, but more than that, it's the center that needs to do that.
Absolutely, Jaggi.
So I don't expect any freebies this time, even though we have 4 or 5 major elections.
There will be infrastructure projects X, Y, Z in Tamil Nadu, in West Bengal.
I have no quarrel. If you want to set up infrastructure in Tamil Nadu or Assam or West Bengal, you know, what's wrong with that? It's a good thing. That's not a freebie. It will improve the capacities of those economies. What I don't expect is the kind of pre-election freebies that we saw before Delhi elections and various things, which is like all the tax things and all that. But of course, even the tax relief was not a freebie, but it's a good thing to do. But what I'm trying to say is the important thing you need to do, I mean, I partly agree with Monica on that, states have to do. But even more than the states, the most disempowered part of government is local bodies. Why is it that Maharashtra's Bombay or Chennai or they have such atrocious infrastructure? I mean, one wrong thing that happened with GST was that all these fellows lost their revenue buoyancy on their own. Now they get largest from states, which is why you see most of these rural ministers want to sit on the urban development department and make money from that instead of actually improving the infrastructure in the states. So the empowerment and financing of urban bodies, which is the clue to jobs. You're not going to get jobs in rural areas. You're going to get jobs in urban areas. And if urban infrastructure is improved...
Absolutely, and it's a crying need because, yes, our urban infrastructure reeks like hell. And that's the point many people make. We are paying taxes. What are we getting? Our drains don't function. Our colony roads. You may have built airports. You may have built highways. Fair, but outside my house, the road is in a dilapidated condition. Pani aata nahi hai. We've seen the Indore. Absolutely. Will there be something on the urban?
Latvian zone is fine, Navika.
We are not in the Latvian zone. Only the mantris are. Well, and opposition leaders. Rohit Azad.
I mean, this argument about freebies, and I think difference of opinion is good in a democracy, because otherwise, same opinion, everybody holds. What's the point?
Rohit, you don't have to be defensive. Just
no, I'm not. I'm going to go on the offensive.
Difference of opinion is exactly what makes
Navika,
everybody
I'm going to go on the offensive. So that's the reason. I think when there's a class bias there. When it is given out to the poor, it's a freebie. When there's a corporate tax cut, it's called an incentive. If you have a position on government not spending, then it should be consistent. You do it for all. You say that it's a freebie for the corporate, withdraw that. If you say it's a freebie for the poor, withdraw that. But you can't say that freebie is fine, but this one is not.
Agreed.
That is an inconsistent position to take. Absolutely. That is very important. Secondly, I think it is important to also see, whichever name you want to give it, the impact of that has been on the economy. You have given a freebie, and I called it the freebie, to the corporate sector. The economic survey has been saying that you have not responded for the last 4 years. That tax cut was given to you in 2018-19. That was a freebie, but nobody talks about that. When it goes to the poor people who are also generating demand in the economy, then you have a problem, because we belong to a class who would always like, of this growth, some bit to come here, but not go to the poor. That's wrong economics.
Not true, but yes, it's a mixed bag. There are political compulsions and there is good economics in all of this. And
10 seconds, because
10 seconds mein you've never spoken anything, Anand Ranganath.
there is nothing that Rohit had said that is wrong.
Voice.
I completely agree with him. But the fact is, somebody has to draw that line between what is welfareism and what is freebism. There are some things that are absolutely freebism, like MSP is freebism, like having government ads is freebism.
Wrong.
Like,
no,
for
Anand,
example,
you got it
old
wrong.
pension scheme reversion is freebism.
No,
let me please.
Yeah, sure.
I never
Go
interrupted
ahead.
you. You see, you have the government mandated limit for buffer capacity, how much government can procure food grains, as about 40 million tons. It hovers around 25 million tons. You know what our procurement was 2 years ago? 100 million tons. Politicians don't have the heart or the guts to refuse procuring. Every year, we keep on procuring more and more of the food grains because we give MSP.
And then that
don't have enough storage capacity.
And then
Navika,
you have...
can I respond to that?
Do we procure other products?
Just
Why
one
only
second.
MSP?
Okay.
No, get others also. Procure more.
Achha,
But the
other
reason,
also.
one second. Now let me respond.
Okay.
Stocks are high. Stocks of food grains are high because you're not distributing. You procure, but you don't distribute. That is a problem.
80 million for 80 crores.
If your public distribution system you dismantle, then you don't distribute. That is exactly why your stocks are high. MSP provides...
it's the chicken and egg, and 80 crore people are being given. Distribution is happening. Are we still collecting more? That's another point. But there are some worries in the economy, and for me, the worries in the economy, Gurcharan Das, are the fact that private investment is just not picking up. Number two, HNIs, high net worth individuals, are leaving the country. Is there a connection between the two? Is there a problem that is happening there and a problem that needs to be addressed?
I think the fundamental issue really is the way, what I mean is the mindset of the bureaucracy. It's not policies. Yeah. It is the fact that the mindset, the bureaucracy's incentive system of the bureaucracy, as I said earlier, is to say no, and is to treat the person, the taxpayer or whoever is on the other side, in the old colonial way of law and order, of lack of distrust. That's why I think the best word that has been uttered in the last few months in the corridors of Delhi is trust-based compliance. That really has been music to my ears, because for the first time, these deregulation commissions, who I hope will create a bonfire, a real bonfire of those regulations which they are, and decriminalize most of them and digitize most of them, that is what we are expecting. So there is good news, I think. There is good news that we could move towards and just to the point earlier on, that we think of freebies as, yes, very correctly, that freebies take the place of investment that would create jobs, rather than giving instant gratification to anyone. What we don't realize is how badly the state finances are. Nobody is talking about that. The finances of many states have become dire. And that means they can't do. Where is the job? How can they create jobs when your finances are gone? And those
Absolutely, I agree with you, couldn't agree with you more. But opening up this discussion forward, joining me this morning is an August panel, Gaurav Vallabh of the BJP, man, and he is also a part-time member of the Prime Minister's Economic Advisory Council. And Gaurav Vallabh ji, I want to ask you, many are talking about the fact that while growth is robust, and in the context of the geopolitical situation, we are doing better than many of the neighboring economies and the fast-growing bigger countries. The fact of the matter is private investment not picking up is a huge worry, number one. Number two, elections that we have every now and then, which really gets down to how we can woo voters, taking away a lot of the fiscal discipline at the state level, at the center level. And number three, there is always this conversation of high net worth individuals leaving the country. How do you respond to some of these three issues that need to be addressed, probably in this budget?
Yes. See, Narika ji, all 3 points which you had raised are interlinked and interconnected to each other. And I will give you one by one response to all the 3 points. Number one, you asked about the private investment. It's correct that government's capex is in the last budget announced was 11,21,000 crores. But in the same way, the private sector capex is not growing up. It's growing. It's not deaccelerating. It's going up, but it is not at the same pace. Just to give you one data to understand this, that in 2014, the public capex in the budget by the government of India was somewhere around 4 lakh crore, and last year we had 11.21 lakh crore, 11,21,000 crore. So the same growth is not there in the private capex. There are 3 reasons, and I was listening to the members in your panel. One of the reasons pointed out by one of the learned panelists is the regulatory environment, the ease of doing business, and the predictability of the laws. So this is an issue on which government is consistently working. Already labor reforms are already initiated by government in the form of the 4 labor codes. The land reforms are in the pipeline. applying. So that what I used to say 3L, land, labor and legal reforms. So this is going to improve the private capex, and consistently we are reforming the land, labor and the legal side. In legal side, my focus is on the execution of the contracts and the decriminalization of some of the laws which are there. This is for the point number one. Point number two, you asked about freebies and the state of the states in our country. See, I slightly differ with the panelists because I was listening for last 10 minutes. We have two kinds or two broad categories of freebies. The freebies which are permanent and which doesn't create infrastructure or which doesn't create job, and the freebies which are temporary and which is a hand holding and which creates infrastructure or which creates a job, like G Ramji. So giving 125 days right to every rural family of employment is not freebie as per me, because it creates rural infrastructure. Point number two, like scholarships in the schools, it's not freebie as per me because it creates a intellectual capital for the country. But there are certain freebies. I don't want to enter into the political discussion today, but there are certain freebies which are for the political reasons, for the election reasons. So they are not giving the long-lasting impact or the positive impact on to the economy. But certain freebies are very much required, like Kisan Samman Nidhi. I don't consider that as a freebie. I consider that as a hand-holding, and it improves the consumption in the rural economy, and that takes the GDP to the next level. Because your primary question was that why Indian economy is growing at 7.4%, whereas the other countries of the world like United States is right now growing at less than 2%, China somewhere around 4%, South Asian economy is somewhere around 5%, but we are growing at 7.4%, and that is the basic reason that our consumption pattern is rotating the economy. When in the last budget up to 12.75 lakh of income, it was exempted, the consumption got improved. In the GST rate rationalization, when GST of all essential commodities were slashed, the consumption were improved. And just to give you a data, after the income tax deductions and the GST rate rationalization, the total consumption additional in the economy is 5.25 lakh crore. So that is driving the economy. 140 crore people's consumption is taking the economy to the next level, and that is now becoming the core strength of our country. And so when you are going to improve the consumption, then naturally the demand is going to arise. When demand is going to arise, the private investment is going to improve. So private investment in last 4-5 years got down, first of all 2 years because of Corona. Then after that it started increasing, but rate was not very encouraging. But now it is going to match the public capex.
Well, that's a hope. That's a hope, Gaurav Vallabhji. But people have been talking about tax terrorism on this panel. The fact that ED, income tax, tax compliance is rather invasive, which is why a lot of businessmen like to operate out of maybe Dubai or somewhere else. HNIs are leaving this country, and that's a truth the government will have to face.
There is no tax terrorism. In fact, the tax laws were oversimplified. The new Income Tax Act is already there. It's oversimplified. If you ask any SSE, a common SSE, that had you received any information from the income tax after filing the return, he will say, yes, we received a SMS that received this, assessment is completed. So that kind of, and after the faceless initiatives in the income tax, there is nothing. And even if somebody wants to do tax terrorism, the policy will not allow you to do that. And coming to the HNIs,
then obviously you are in a country that we are not seeing much about. Anand, I'm coming to you, but I have Mr. Narayan Sethuraman joining me from the CII headquarters. He is co-chairman of the CII Trade Policy Council and CII International Council. Mr. Sethuraman, what are you expecting from this budget after the spate of FTAs that we've seen? Do you see private investment going up. Do you expect anything from the finance minister?
Morning, Navika. Definitely, we are looking at a big fillip for manufacturing and exports. There's also going to be a lot of focus on supply chain de-risking of imports. We're looking forward to all of that. We have to recognize that our merchandise trade deficit is almost 7% of GDP, with $280 billion. And that is unsustainable for a country of our size. So definitely there's a need to expand exports, and we look forward to policy initiatives from the finance minister as part of the budget.
Yes, we are looking forward for that, but Anand Ranganathan has a question for you, Gaurav Vallabhji, but before he comes in, my question is what the Congress is asking today. Should we be hearing about the Venezuela oil deal from President Trump, or should the government have announced it on its own?
Can I take Anand's question also, because then I will respond?
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Vallabh. No, I just wanted very quick two questions. Yes, you say Kisan Samman Nidhi is welfare. Why isn't there a Doctor Samman Nidhi or a Jawan Samman Nidhi? And second question is, according to you, the government ad budget that you see government splashing every day, congratulating people on their birthdays and everything in newspapers, in the last 10 years, the central government ad budget is 10,000 crores. Do you think that is welfare or that is freebism?
I'm sorry, I seriously object to this. I only want these ads to be more on television than on newspapers. So you may ignore question number 2. Please answer the other 2 questions.
Navika ji, is it not true, and everybody will agree, is it not true that as far as the large economies of the world is concerned, India is the fastest growing economy with a growth rate of 7.4% for FY26 and projected growth rates for FY27, 28 and 29 by all multilateral agencies 7+%. Is it not true that inflation in the economy, and I am talking about the retail inflation, is somewhere around 4%? Is it not true that fiscal deficit targets of 4.4% of GDP is achieved? Is it not true that our exports had reached to $800 billion with a growth of service exports of plus 6.5% and merchandise export to plus 2.5%? Is it not true that our foreign exchange reserves are $700+ billion, which is equivalent to 11 months import?
Answer my question on the Venezuelan oil deal.
Very strong foundation base. So I am coming to that. So opposition parties are there just to ask some questions or other, but they only told our economy as dead economy. Now, people who are seeing this economy as a dead economy, all their questions are irrelevant, Navika ji. जिसको चकाचौंध रोशनी में सूर्य भगवान के अंदर भी अंधेरा दिखता है, वो क्या उनके सवालों का क्या महत्व है? जो सूर्य पे पहुंच के बोलता है बहुत अंधेरा हो रहा है, तो फिर उनके सवालों का कोई महत्व नहीं रह जाता है.
चलिए, तो फिर आनंद जी के सवाल का जवाब दे दीजिए कि लॉयर सम्मान निधि, डॉक्टर सम्मान निधि, जर्नलिस्ट सम्मान निधि,
वो बहुत है. जर्नलिस्ट सम्मान निधि बहुत है.
अच्छा, ठीक है.
आनंद, आई विश प्रोफेसर सम्मान निधि भी होनी चाहिए, because that is also going to benefit you and many professors. So coming to your question, Anand, hand holding किनकी की जाती है? किनका हाथ पकड़ के जो रफ्तार से इतना आगे जिनको ग्रोथ का फायदा नहीं मिलता, उनका हाथ पकड़ा जाता है. when I say 7.4% growth, and if the entire country, some people are left, we require to hold their hand. So this is not revdi, this is not freebie. This is something to improve the rural consumption and take the people in the growth yatra. विकास की यात्रा में कोई भी पीछे नहीं छोड़ना चाहिए. And that is what the inclusive development and Modinomics is. जब आप 55 करोड़ लोगों के खाते खुलवाते हो, इसी को इंक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक्स कहते हैं। जब आप मुद्रा स्कीम के तहत बिना कोलेट्रल के लोन देते हो, यही इंक्लूसिव इकोनॉमिक्स है और यही वेलफेयर इकोनॉमिक्स है। But Revdi, I agree with the point which you raised before I joined the panel, but because I was hearing you, that some only for political reasons, just 10 days before or 5 days before the election announcement, you announced something. I personally as economist, I am not.
आप बिहार की बात तो नहीं कर रहे। आपकी सरकार ने बिहार में बहुत कुछ ऐसा किया था, महाराष्ट्र चुनाव से पहले किया था, हरियाणा में किया था। A Saravanan of the DMK also joining this broadcast, Mr. Saravanan.
Yes.
Also joining me is the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson Anmol Pawar. Welcome to this broadcast this morning. Pradeep Bhandari joining the panel with Sanjay Jha as well. Saravanan ji, chapter and verse has been said about freebies being bad. Do you think there will be no freebies? And are you under some sort of a sweaty tension because Tamil Nadu elections are coming up? Will Nirmala Sitharaman ji take away the wind out of your sails by announcing something big for Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, see, firstly, calling that as a freebie, I think is an insult. Whatever it is a welfare measure. When you give a 7% tax cut for corporates, it is hailed. And what have they done? You were discussing about declining private investment. We have given them a tax cut, and 3 lakh crores has been the loss for the government in the last how much ever time that has gone, minimum of 3 lakh crores. No private investments. And where did all the money go? All went away. And people are fleeing the country because they are not able to retain the money, or they don't see value in India's future. That is the kind of economy the BJP has built. If this is one aspect. The other aspect is, when you give something into the hands of the poor, they cannot flee this country. They have to be here. That money has to be spent in the economy, which will in fact spur consumption. I don't know how these people, without understanding these basic economics, insult us freebies, and how can a freebie be given and all that. So it depends. If somebody from the higher strata of the society is given tax cut, is given waiver on loan, it is hailed. But when it is given to the lowest strata of the society in form of 1,000 rupee or a 2,000 rupee, it is a freebie and it will spoil the culture. Prime Minister course corrected. He said Revdi culture is spoiling the economy of this country. Then he may ensure that every BJP state in this country is following what Tamil Nadu is doing, the Dravidian model of governance. We have started this.
Oh.
We ensured that 1,000 rupee it should be given
so
to
there will be a Dravidian growth
across.
There will be a Dravidian growth, and for the Aryan growth, we will have to ask Pradeep Bhandari, Aryan growth kya hogi? Because Saravanan ji is only responsible for Dravidian growth. You know, are we looking at a new kind of politics and economics? Well, we'll debate that after this very short break. I know it's absolutely not my view that we should take a break at this point, but kya kare? Small break, coming back in just the next 120 seconds. Don't go anywhere.